Okay, we're in a fixed camera position now, so hopefully this is better. This is my darling copy of The Secret History. I don't know why I had to look at the title, I know the name of the book. And it's very much loved. It's got all these tabs, it's got annotations in, and it's quite battered as well. Also, it's a floppy book, which I absolutely adore. Look at it, it's great. I took it all across summer. It took me a month to read, and I wasn't invested in classic literature. And I don't mean like Jane Austen, I mean like classics, Homer and Ovid, though I don't really like Ovid because of the Roman interpretation of Greek mythology that he does, but that's another conversation for another day. Either way, this is Secret History, and I'm going to read out sections and give you my thoughts and opinions and give you reasons in detail on why I absolutely adore this book, and I think it's one of the best things in 20th century literature. The first 40 pages are the ones I struggled to get into. As soon as we got to that section about beauty is terror and that whole thing about rituals and classical basically the first lesson, that's where I realised I wanted to continue reading the book because I was so not sure if this was for me. You can see it's very heavily tabbed in that area. I just realised how many jump cuts I'm going to have to do when I edit this, which is going to be great. I'm just going to read a section which I really enjoyed. Because there's two parts on it, there's like a break in between. Pretty much everyone who's read The Secret History and adores this book has the same thing, and it's this section. You can see my annotations here. So basically what happened there was that I went to my copy of the Iliad and I couldn't find the pages, and then I did, and I wrote down the reference pages so I can cross-reference if I ever wanted to, which I love. So this is the section. Death is the mother of beauty. And what is beauty? Terror. Genuine beauty is always quite alarming. And then he goes into this thing, Richard Papin, who is the unreliable narrator. I think it's a really good way of showing how an unreliable narrator can romanticise certain themes that should not be romanticised, such as classism, sexism, all those kind of things. And I don't like him. I actually don't like him as a character. My two favourite characters are probably the most heavily romanticised characters, and it's due to Richard's unreliable narration. My favourite characters, no surprise, Henry Winters and Camilla Macaulay. And it continues, and if beauty is terror, then what is desire? We think we have many desires, but in fact we only have one. What is it? To live forever. And the kettle began to whistle. And I just think, you know, you're on page 42 of what? How many pages is this? It's like it's a 600 plus page book. And already you have one of the most iconic parts of the book, and you're on page 42, which is very rare in novels. It sets that kind of tone for the entire book, the fact you're going to have these profound scenes that are going to make you question your entire philosophy and way of living as a reader, and I think that's really fascinating. And then there's this whole section that I'm not going to read because I'm already rambling too much. But I think it's absolutely wonderful, and it kind of goes back to that living forever section when we go to the bit about the Greeks and the Romans being different with their order and control, and how the Greeks accept the darkness and the undead compared to Romans, which actually, fun fact, links to reasons why I despise Ovid. I'm probably going to do like an Ovid slander video, to be honest. This is a very well loved section, and you're only that far in the book. Like, look, that's not very far. But it's one of the best parts. Like I said, this whole section is what really made me want to get into the book in the first place. One of the first letters that Bunny writes to Richard, I think it actually might be the first letter, and he says Richard old man. It's quite interesting because but Bunny can't spell properly. There's a lot of spelling mistakes in this letter, and it shows that despite being an academic or a scholar, a lot of academics can't really function outside of their chosen area. From Donna Tartt's personal experience going to Bennington, which is literally filled with scholars, she's quite literally ingraining her own personal experience into the text through Bunny as well as all the other characters. I think this is the first time we properly see one of her personal experiences being reflected in part of the text, which is Bunny's letter, well, note to Richard, and I think it's really great. Also, he calls Richard an old man, father figure kind of thing, because he didn't necessarily have a very good relationship with his father. His family's completely broken, so the fact he refers to a new friend as old man is almost like a desperate attempt at a new relationship and trying to make something meaningful and almost trustworthy on both sides, because Richard doesn't really have a good relationship with his parents either, so that's quite fascinating. This is like a video essay. I got quite aggressive when this was when I first read it. I did it in biro because I didn't have any pencils at the time, and I got really angry, and I have like bottom notes, and I got so frustrated at Bunny. Like as soon as I read it, I really despised him as a character, and throughout the whole thing I think my judgment on Bunny was quite accurate. It's like, no, I always loathed him. Maybe it's my thing for always liking the more negative characters or more mysterious characters, but I just found him very irritating. But what I do know is the fact that I despise Bunny. He's so irritating. Also, they say on page 60, all Francis needs is a girlfriend, and this is Bunny, and it just shows that he is so naive and he is blind. He is just so self-absorbed. And I think it was from this part onwards that I realised I despise him, and I will probably despise him for the rest of the book. Ooh. This is a really good scene, is that it starts to get a bit uneasy with the friend group. It's on page 221, and Henry says, do you want to play a hand or two at cards? And we've got some symbolism going on. He's the one dealing out the cards. He's the one who offered it. He's in charge. He's got control. And it also foreshadows the fact that he has leadership and he's the one who orchestrates Bunny's death.